Hello and welcome to YFS Spotlight series that is part of first ever Global Change Makers project. I'm Aditi and I will be one of the interviewers for this session. I'm in grade 7 at Dhruv Global School.
Hello, my name is Samruddhi. I am in grade 7 at Dhruv Global School and I will be your other interviewer for this session.
We have with us a multifaceted personality and a well-known entrepreneur, Mr. Kusai. We welcome Mr. Kusai, who has generously agreed to participate in Global Change Makers project.
Sir, we would like to request you to tell our audience something more about yourself.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much, and thank you all, thanks to the YFS forum for this great opportunity. It's really inspiring to see both of you conducting this interview to create more change across the globe. My name is Kusai Fteita, and I'm leading Global Shapers Tripoli Hub, Libya. Global Shapers is part of the World Economic Forum. Personally, I started my career at the age of 13. I started working with one of my relatives in a technology company based in Libya. It was in 2007, 2006. I was at a very young age, working with teams and working with companies and trying to work on information technology and trying to help customers. So at a very young age, like both of you, I started to work and learn and experience how things work. Moving forward from secondary school and high school, I started to do this work and entrepreneurial work. And from there, at the university, I started to work more on a bigger level. So I started to work on a company, and I created my own company, as well as working on community development. So we help other people learn and gain new experience and new skills to compete on the global level. So in generally, my career started very young age, and at some point, I had to work and learn hands-on. And this, I think, what made me the person who I am today. Engaging at a very young age and working on helps people like you, people like us, grow and succeed. So this is, in a nutshell, what I've done and what I've been doing.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kusai. It's honor and pleasure talking to you.
We would like to begin the interview with some questions about your noble work.
As the founder and CEO of Tech Impact, an innovation and entrepreneurship hub, which aims to empower entrepreneurs, students, and enthusiasts. You are the role model for the young generation. So, may I request you to share your views about career and social responsibilities of the young generation?
Thank you for the question. Tech Impact is an innovation and startup hub. We started in 2016. We started with a boot camp for technology, coding, and robotics. We started as we were early in 2016, early 2017, and we created a boot camp. This boot camp, we trained around 12 members, and we created what we call the robotics team. And we were the first national robotics team in Libya that were created to compete on a global scale. In early 2017, I created this team, and we called it Tech Impact Robotics Team, as a way to enhance the skills of the new generation and enhance them in the fourth industrial revolution, to make them learn how to code, how to do robotics, how to use design thinking as an approach to solve local communities' problems. So we started like this. At first, when we started this robotics team, it was a boot camp. We didn't know the impact will be this big after 4 years. Today, we are reflecting on what happened. So many members that were part of the program, today they are creating their own projects and startups and programs that creating more impact. So we basically trained around, we created a boot camp for 13 members, but we impacted so many people, over 5,000 and almost reached 10,000 people around this boot camp. So you create something at first, but you never know where it goes. But you see the impact throughout the years. It's very inspiring and throughout the generation. So I hope to see both of you guys doing more maybe community development in the future and create more positive impact that will create the ripple effect. So that's what we've done with Tech Impact. That was the first program. After this program, we trained around 500 students on coding and robotics. We did a special program that was sponsored by international organizations. And these programs, we trained around 250 on robotics and coding on the first year. And the second year, we trained around 300. So we went to public schools and we trained them on how to use coding and how to do coding and how to do robotics and how to work, most importantly, collaboratively together to create a solution for the community through coding and robotics. And we're really happy today. I see so many people today contacting me and contact our organization, Tech Impact, about how to proceed forward. Some of the students today are in the university, and we're really happy actually to see this happening. The students who were in high schools before and were trained today at the university, and they want to start, create their own projects, and they want to learn. So this is one of the things that we've done with Tech Impact. It was, it's at first, it's difficult and it's challenging, but things with time, you will see the great impact that's happening, the positive impact that we create in the community. So today, these guys are creating an enormous projects and creating really positive impact throughout the whole community. So this is one of or two of the projects that we're working on, and we're still currently trying to reach out to over 10,000 participants on the programs. So yeah, this is in a very quick introduction.
Yes, sir, it was really great and we'll surely follow the path.
You are a serial entrepreneur in the ICT field. May I request you to brief us your vibrant life story as a serial entrepreneur?
So first of all, my social entrepreneurial process or the start, it was in 2013. Me and my colleagues, we started a non-government organization, organization that specialized in helping young people succeed. This was the main goal. We want to help others succeed through technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And through this organization, we started to learn how things work and how to work with teams, how to create more impact, how to get partners together, work collaboratively, to reach out to the wider audience. And this led me to move forward and create also something profitable for me and for the community. Everyone can benefit from it. So in late 2015, 2016, I founded a company called Aditi Technologies. It's specialized in ICT services because of my old experience and my younger experience when I was in the 9th grade and also in the high school. I learned how to work with companies and how to convince them, how to sell a service for them. So when I created the Aditi Technologies, it's a company specialized in ICT services. So basically, we started to go to companies and we provide services for them. They want to, for example, fix their computer networks. They want to install new softwares and new development for their employees. So we created a team for us, and we start to push forward to help these companies succeed. But we didn't stop at there. Currently, we have an app called CityGo. It's more like a ride sharing and delivery services. And the idea is to help create more employment in Libya at the local level. We have a huge gap, unemployment gap. So many people not employed because of the situation. It's very critical economic bad situation. So we have to think how to help them and how we can help ourselves as well. So the Citigo is an app for ride sharing and delivery services. We want to create more jobs. So we want to provide others with jobs through this platform. So it's really about how to be forward thinking, how to think more on the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, how this platforms that you are creating, projects, program that you are creating can make a big impact in the future. This app is currently in the process and it should be launched soon as well. So this is part of my serial entrepreneurial journey as well. I'm helping other companies and startups, small startups and micro startups to grow and succeed. So this is just, part of the entrepreneurial journey. It's difficult, it's challenging. You have to learn how to adapt because currently I'm living in Libya. Libya is a political instability place. It's very difficult to create something and sustain it. So you have to think how to work with partners, how to create something at a big impact and higher impact at a very long range in the future. So this is our idea. It's very, being in a developing countries, you have to understand the situation and move on. So I would also advise that you guys or girls, you should start from now and, think forward to create more impact in the future. And I hope actually, and I am positive that we will see you one day in the future, maybe with the Global Shapers, maybe with any other communities around the globe. Yeah.
To grow as knowledge economy and cultivate children as neotric innovators, adult tinkering laboratories are being established in schools across India. You are Next Einstein Forum's ambassador and founder mentor of Robotics 4004, the Libyan national robotics team. Can you kindly guide the budding innovators, students, and educators to build innovative solutions for the problems?
Yeah, so it's very important at first for the younger generation and the students to think, what's the problem? What's the problem exactly? And you work from there. And this is what we call the grassroots solution. You start from the problem and you move on, because we see so many entrepreneurs doing exact opposite. So they start with the solution and they try to find the problem. And this is an issue and a challenge and a problem itself. My advice is to find the problem and you work your way through. For example, the robotics, it's about the collaborative environment. It's about how to work with teams, think, brainstorm together, use design thinking as an approach to solve the problems, and you move on from there. So this is what we've done with the robotics team. We were hosting almost like a daily brainstorming session of how this robots or this coding program can solve the problem. And we were part of a global challenge. It was called First Global Challenge. It was a challenge in Washington, D.C. And it was about how to provide a clean water for everyone. So we were thinking about how to create a concept, code, and a robot itself that can solve the problem. So this is one of the things you have to work on a daily basis, being committed to one problem you try to focus on to create the solution you want. So this is one of my advices that I see it's very important, because I see so many change makers, sometimes they get distracted. It's very important to focus on the problem, move on until you find the solution. Don't quit. There is a solution at the end. You have to find the right mentors. You have to have the right environment, which can be provided by the mentors, by the people around you, by your family, your friends. All of this can result in creating the solution you want, the product you want itself. So this is in general the process.
Yes, sir. We will surely implement this in our life. Thank you.
Your consistent work on community development, building successful teams, has delivered high impact outputs in Libya. What mindset and soft skills one should have to work and think like you? How do we
Um,
develop those qualities in oneself as students, educators, administrators, and policymakers?
Okay. First of all, you have to understand the situation. Soft skills is the skills of the future right now. It's really not about the old skills that we need. It's the skills of the future. We talk today about artificial intelligence. We talk about robotics. We talk about blockchain. All of it. Um, uh, these solutions create the impact we need. We call it the fourth industrial revolution. Especially with ourselves at the Global Shapers community and the World Economic Forum, we focus so much on these things and how to shape it to create the positive impact around the communities around the globe. It's really important that you, as a change makers, shed the lights on the problem that you have in the community and get everyone around it. It's really, you're not going to find the solution by itself if you don't get down to business, if you don't just work on your community development and you start creating the impact by yourself. Because if you're going to wait for someone to create the solution, it's not going to happen. You have to focus and you have to do it by yourself sometimes. The start could be tough at first, it's challenging, especially when you try to introduce something new in the community itself. And this is what happened to us in 2016 when we tried to introduce robotics and the new ways of developing products. It was very tough. People did not understand it, especially in places in villages, for example, and rural areas. It's very something new. So you have to convince everyone around it. How to do it? You have to get mentors in place, administrators in place, and you show them how the impact it created. It's called also, you get policymakers around it. It's called also lobbying. So you have to convince them that this is something that they can benefit from them. So you, as a change maker from around the globe, you have to think about how administrators and policymakers can benefit from the things that you see that can create an impact. So you are the visionaries, right? You are on the ninth grade, you have the vision, you perfect it very well, but you have to know how to explain it to others so everyone can get with you and start working on it. You can never do things on your own. This is, you have to put it in place. You have to create coalitions, alliances, partnerships around it so you can push forward to create something. So my advice is to find the solution, find the problem, gather the community around it, and then you start implementing the solution. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Startup India is a flagship initiative of Government of India intended to catalyze startup culture and build a strong and inclusive ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship. You are the General Manager of Ulti Technologies and founder of Libya Africa Innovation Network with an aim to promote innovation and support doing business across the borders. How can the young generation avail maximum benefits of such schemes to contribute to the economy and overcome unemployment?
Yes. In terms of grassroots, how the grassroots communities can contribute to it. So this is very important. At the Libya Africa Innovation Network, we created a coalition, a partnership. We call it the multi-stakeholder platform. It's like the World Economic Forum or any other communities around the globe. They call it the multi-stakeholder platform. You have the government, you have entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs, you have students, you have young professionals. So creating a community-based initiative, project that can gather all of the stakeholders together, from government, from civil society, entrepreneurs. They just get together and start to think about the solution to more collaboratively and achieve the solution we want. So this is one way to do it. Otherwise, it will be very challenging if there's not all the people come together in one place. It will take more time to achieve the project itself. So this is one way we are doing it at the Libya Africa Innovation Network. We gathered municipalities, we gathered governments, we gathered social entrepreneurs, civil society leaders, and to create more impact. For us in particular, we started at the policy level. So we are working with a Ministry of Economy to try create the right policy for businesses, for example, to grow. And policy is the core thing to grow a business and to also create more employment in the economy. So for us, we created a platform for ministries, for municipalities to come together, discuss and talk what is the problems, and through the network that we are created, we started what we called lobbying to create the impact and to create more employment. And that's what happened. The government mentioned that they can work on it and they want to create more employment in the future. So this is just a great example that you guys have to get everyone together in one place and discuss the problem and the solution. And eventually things will connect.
Yes, sir. I'm sure young generation will definitely get helpful because of all these things.
What message would you like to give to the post-pandemic world?
Yeah, I think we should focus more on creating more human-centric, environment-centric world. We want to make sure that the gap between, for example, the rich and poor is not widened anymore, because as you know, the COVID-19 made the inequality rise, so many polarization around the globe. So we have to make sure that everyone have equal access to opportunities. We have to make sure that we have a climate neutral green economy around the globe. It's something very important that we have to pay attention to it, and how to use new technologies and leverage these technologies to create a positive impact around the globe, and not just create more problems. But we want to tackle the challenges to create more solutions around the globe. So this is the three things that we have to focus on. So climate, human-centric, and we have to focus on new technologies.
Yes, sir, sure.
What and who ignited your mind to take up global mission in quality education?
So mainly my experience, the things that I experienced throughout the year, because I started, as I told you, in 9th grade in high school and secondary school as well. I started to learn how things work. What is the problems? What is the solution? And these things help me know more about what is the problems and how to solve it, but also being part of other communities. And especially after high school, in more like a university level, I started to connect with people like communities like Global Change Makers, for example, or like Global Shapers community. I started to connect with people who are part of these communities, and I started to understand what they are working on and what is the problem that they are tackling. So you have to connect with people as much as possible, learn from their experience. You have to do one thing, which is listening. You have to listen more than you talk sometimes, but then you will start talking more than you listen at some point. I started to connect. Global Shapers community played an important role in my personal as well career development, as well as other communities, MEPI community, all of other communities that I was part of played an important role. As you know, and as I mentioned, Libya is not an enabled environment. It's a very tough environment. It's a challenging place to start a business, to create an impact, but it's really about having a value and a mission for yourselves. For example, at some point, I could have went and studied abroad or finished my studies abroad, but my aim is to create more impact locally at the local level, create more jobs, helping the economy, helping governments, helping all of the stakeholders come together to create a purposeful projects program for everyone. So it's really about how can you create an impact around the community and around the globe. And it's really about collaborating with everyone else. So this is what was triggered the Global Shapers community, and all of other communities and people that I met actually helped me understand the situation and what's going around the globe. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Would you like to share some memorable incidents from your childhood? As a child, what did you enjoy the most?
Okay. Yeah, I think going in school, especially we had a very tough teacher that we learned so much from, but we didn't understand it at the time. So that was one of the most memorable things. Every day they call me, for example, me and my friends, that we have to do more work and things we didn't understand at the time. But because we were part of basketball team and we were part of so many other initiatives inside the school. And the teacher insisted that we have to also do other things. We didn't understand it at the time, but today we are reflecting on the childhood memories. Yeah, it was one of the most memorable things. So the mentors and the teachers, they are wise. They know when they say something, it's true. You have to just figure out the way around it and think of how to make it possible and how to make more impact around it. So yeah.
Wow, sir, it seems you had a great time in childhood.
It would
So
be
great,
great to know. It would be great to know how did you build up your career and what steps did you take between your high school and where you are right now?
Yeah, so it's the start. It was I didn't. I was always like to work. I was also always like to play sports in schools. I always like to push to create more things hands-on. I always like to hands-on more than just normal things. So being part of one of good schools here in Tripoli, Libya, was one of the things that helped me, as well as the family around it and the friends around it. That's what made me go throughout the career. But also because I went in technology and entrepreneurship, and it was at a later stage. And for example, one of my relatives opened a company for technology, and it helped me trigger my entrepreneurial side in technology. And the thing is, the company was very close to the school. So every day I wait for my family to pick me up, not from school, but from that company next to it. So every time I spend every day I spend my time in the company and learn. There is a gap between like 1 hour gap between waiting for my family and working. So I was enjoying spending my time with teams, seeing them fight, seeing them playing, doing together the work and achieve things. And that's triggered. That's why was one of the triggers that helped me. But also the environment around you at the childhood, it's very important. Your parents, your family, your friends helps you become the person you are today. Always surround yourself by people who makes you feel positive, make you feel energetic, to create more things. So this is a very important thing. And with time, and you have a very good routine on a daily basis, you will become the person that you wish to see.
Your work really motivated us. As school students, how can we contribute to give, and spread quality education for every human being on our Mother Earth?
Yeah, so education is the most important thing. And for example, for myself, I was in 2014 and 2015, I was in the university. And at some point, it was very critical here to study and do so many things at the same time. But I focused on education. So if it wasn't for education, I'll probably be a little bit late than who I am today. So education is the key. But today, it's very different than how it was 6 years ago or 7 years ago. Today we're talking about new technology. We talk about e-learning. We talk about you have the internet. We have Zoom. We have virtual meetings taking place. All of it, we can achieve a good education and access to quality education for everyone. We have to provide the right infrastructure. We have to have the right policy to achieve that. We have also not to forget people at underdeveloped nations and developing countries who are struggling to have the right environment. They don't have access to internet. Some people don't have access to clean water. So we have to not forget all of this. But if we provided a quality education, a good education for everyone, then the entrepreneurs in these communities and in the underdeveloped nations and developing communities will create the solution for those who are in need. So this is we have to think about very critically. E-learning platform, for example, to provide quality education for entrepreneurs in fragile regions or underdeveloped economies will help create the solution for those who are in need. So this is a very important thing, and I think it's achievable today with the Global Change Makers project. Maybe you guys start working on helping others across the globe through the hubs that you have, through the access to online education, providing the right convincing, for example, entrepreneurs, policymakers to create something. And it starts at the grassroots level. At first, you don't believe it, but then you will see it happen at some point. So this is the basics of entrepreneurship. You start something and you only have a vision, and then after a few months you will see it on the ground. So this is a very important thing. So in general, we have to pay attention to quality education.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time today. It was very interesting learning about you and your work.
We are extremely grateful to YFS team for providing us such a great platform to interact, enrich, and widen our horizon. It was a great learning experience to get connected with people across wonderful world in a seamless and integrated manner. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And I hope to see you one day part of the Global Shapers community or part of other communities, and we see the impact. We will see you on TV and you create the impact that we are talking about today. So thank you very much, and thank you for YFS and the whole team around the globe.